I don't know why it is, but it's always weird when you talk money, whether it's with family or friends, or paying a bill, or clients you have with your voiceover business.
But everyone does love getting paid. And getting paid what we're worth. But what is that worth? Thankfully, there is a guide for non-union work as an industry standard.
And in this video, we'll share how you can handle the rate talk and give you more tips as you navigate talking all things money with clients. Now, talent of all ages and experience levels will benefit from this video. We found that quoting rates and sticking to those rates can sometimes be hard, but we need to do it. Today, we'll talk about some ways that should help you. Hey, I'm Mike.
And I'm Heidi. We both run the Atlanta Voiceover Studio and ProVoiceoverTraining.com, where our mission is to equip, elevate, and inspire you in your VO journey.
There are a ton of great things about having an agent, and one of those things is that you never have to haggle over rates.
If you're on online casting sites, otherwise known as pay-to-plays or P2Ps, or book VO work yourself, then you more than likely will have or have already encountered the shock and dismay from a client when you send them your rates.
Yeah. On many P2Ps, you don't have to worry about quoting, as depending on the platform, the rates might already be set, and then you can decide whether or not you just want to audition or not. But when it comes to booking VO yourself, sometimes clients don't understand why the rates are the way they are.
This actually happened to me recently. A client asked for a quote for an ongoing job that I'd need to be available for daily. And when I responded, they came back with,
"What amount of money for 10 minutes of work? Question mark, question mark, question mark."
Yeah, it can be hard to know how to navigate situations like this. Like for you, Heidi, what goes through your head and heart when this happens?
Well, a few things. Number one, I can feel extremely offended. Two, I can question my own value and worth. Like, am I thinking gosh, is blank too much? And three, I get clapped back with some fighting words. But if you know me, you know this is not my MO. But I'm very much human, so it doesn't mean that I don't think it.
So, what do you do? It's our job to gently educate. If the client is in shock, it's because they've had a different expectation for their budget.
Maybe they haven't worked with voice talent before, so their idea of the budget is based on what they think it should be. There's so much that goes into a voiceover rate, it's more than the time spent on a job.
Use this as an opportunity to help them see what factors go into the rate. Typically for me, I'll share what the industry standard non-union rates are for the type of project, and then let them see for themselves.
For non-union work, we'll always point to the GVAA rate guide, share the website link, and direct them to the area that applies to what they're asking.
Something else that's great to do is to share your value with the client. This is an appropriate time to share all that you bring to the table as a talent, and it actually may even sell them on you even more.
Explaining that you have a fast turnaround time and that you've invested in your home studio so that your sound quality is broadcast ready, and that you've had training so that you can take direction really well can make all the difference, especially if they have nuanced reads that they need.
What else? Negotiate, possibly. Scoffing at rates could mean that they promised their client a certain project budget, and then they, feeling the pinch, might think that they'll have to eat the cost or sacrifice another part of the project.
There are times if it's a project I'd really like to be a part of that I say something like, I'd be open to negotiating. Let me know what you think you can do. For the specific project that I mentioned earlier, there was a large discrepancy between their budget and what my rate was. And mine was a fair rate, so I didn't offer to negotiate.
Wondering, yeah, but how do I say this? We'll give an example using our educate, share value, and negotiate titles.
First of all, educate. I understand voiceover rates can feel a little confusing. Let me explain what goes into the rate. A VO rate is based on the genre, commercial, narration, animation, IVR, etc., the usage or how long it will run, who will see it, which is how many eyeballs are on it, and the actual session time. There are specific industry standard rates which can be found here, and then I'll share a link to the GVAA rate guide.
Share value. Your email can then go on to say, with that rate, you're receiving a professional voice talent with a broadcast quality recording space who can edit your project. This has been achieved through many years and money spent on training as well as a professional studio setup. I take sharing your words seriously and want to bring them to life for you and your audience and make your job easier.
Negotiate. Since I know you may already have a set budget, if there's room to negotiate, I'd be willing to see if there's a rate that works for both of us.
So what happened to that client who had sticker shock?
Well, they replied back with, we totally understand. We can't make that work with our budget, but thank you for explaining. And that's okay. But more often than not, my experience with clients has been great, and we've actually been able to work something out that's fair and reasonable for both parties.
And that's usually the case for me as well. But I will say I had an experience experience recently that is an anomaly. I did some marketing and got a client. They loved my voice, wanted to use me on videos for a major tool company, and I don't normally do this, but figured they're legit, so I went ahead and did the recordings before hammering out a rate. I brought on an agent to do that for me then, and for the first time, it turned out to be a bad experience.
Now, it normally doesn't go like this, but it is worth hearing so that you don't make the same mistake.
Yeah, I should have known better, but because they were reputable, I didn't think rates would be an issue. They were a big company. So first off, this company's representative was super vague about the usage, but they wanted a complete buyout. So my agent was going back and forth with the representative in email, and finally he just gave him a quote, and it was a 5-figure quote, which wasn't out of the question as it was a complete buyout across all platforms, and it would limit me as it would conflict, so I'd not be able to do other similar projects.
And what did the client say?
He said, that quote is not going to work for us. My agent said, okay, well, what would work within your budget? The client then came back with, and this might sound like a great rate, but for what they were asking, $200 per video.
Oof.
There were 11 of them.
For a complete buyout and across all platforms, broadcast and non-broadcast?
Yep. I initially felt so offended, and I'm not proud of this, but I immediately wanted to shoot back. That's like me asking you to work and do your job for $3 an hour and then never take another job.
Yeah, as a talent, that's never a good idea.
It was a weak moment.
Yeah.
But I share that to show that I'm human. Gotta let those emotions run past. And while it still hurts a little, my agent went ahead and replied with, thank you, so-and-so. Unfortunately, that rate doesn't properly compensate for use of professional voice talent, and most especially in perpetuity. I'm very sorry. Definitely, if the budget changes, we would be happy to help out. And then I followed up with a thanks and sorry it didn't work out. Not what I originally wanted to write.
But I did the right thing.
Now, you could tell the rep wasn't the type who was going to be educated about rates, and that's especially because he had mentioned he had other talent willing to do it for that low of a rate.
And that's where we as talent need to hold the line.
Hold the line.
And know that the value that you or we bring to the table. Because not only did that limit what Mike could have made as an industry standard, but also the other talent who should have held to a standard. They could have made a lot more, and they might not have known or researched what they should be getting, or they just settled.
But that's why we go to the lengths we do to say, know your value and stick to the industry standard with the GVAA rate guide. It's not just for us, but for you and the voiceover world at large. Okay, stepping off my soapbox.
All right, number 1. This is some additional advice. While most clients simply just aren't aware of voiceover rates, there are some who are very aware of proper rates, but they'll make a habit of undercutting voice talent because it puts more profit in their pockets. So just be careful, okay?
2, if you're starting out, it's okay to do jobs for little to no pay. Why? Because you're gaining experience. It's allowing you to learn more about how to handle clients, sessions, take direction. You get the picture. You're getting something in addition to a rate.
But here's the thing, don't do it forever. Feel it out. Limit this time to a few projects or for just a few months, half a year, or maybe just a little bit more.
If you're taking classes and working on your craft and getting better, that time will shorten as you'll know what you're doing much quicker than someone who is not training.
And 3, please remember that you bring so much more to the table than 10 minutes of your time. Over my VO career, I've spent tens of thousands of dollars on studio equipment, training, demos, and conferences.
Samesies.
We've both spent time planting seeds and marketing and maintaining relationships in our own different ways. And we continue to train and learn new skills to make ourselves more valuable as a voice talent.
We spend hours auditioning to try and book a job that, okay, sure, may only take 30 minutes, but no one sees that time spent leading up to the 30 minutes.
These days, you're also expected to be an engineer, not to mention whatever specialized skill and knowledge that you may happen to bring to the table, like if you have a background in healthcare or law or teaching.
And not to mention availability. The project that I was talking about earlier would be every day, Sunday through Thursday. They'd send me a script to record daily. That meant that I couldn't do any on-camera jobs during the period of time they needed me and would have to be available every Sunday, which is my only day I 100% know I can take off.
Yeah, you can't take a ridiculously low rate for that much of a sacrifice. It just limits the amount of work that you can get, and honestly, that's just not right. Remember your value. Write it out if you have to, and read it as a daily reminder.
Number 4 is the lower the rate, we found it all tends to equal being more complicated. Not one job we've taken with a lower rate has been smooth.
Not one job. A job booked through an agent, you have the script laid out, paid on time, or in a reasonable amount of time. No crazy revisions, things are communicated clearly. You get the picture.
A low rate project, they come back asking you to mix to picture, have 15 revisions, send scripts with words left out or totally wrong, too long of a script, tell you at 8 p.m. the night before they need an extra 10 pages recorded and edited before 9 a.m. the next morning, and not to mention the delayed pay.
All these things don't happen at once, but they've all happened to us, and they all have been with low-rate jobs. It's kind of like the saying, and you've probably heard this already, but
you teach people how to treat you by what you allow, what you stop, and what you reinforce.
Thanks,
Tony
Tony.
Gaskins. Yep.
Now, we showed you the GVAA rate guide link earlier, so we encourage you to bookmark that page. It's your friend, and it takes the burden off of you to explain your rate. Just say, these are the industry standard rates that I follow.
Hopefully this helps spark some inspiration for the next time you find you have to negotiate rates. And if you ever have any questions, you can always reach us at atlantavoiceoverstudio.com or provoiceovertraining.com.
If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe. We always try to help give you value.
And if you sign up for our newsletter, it's at the bottom of atlantavoiceoverstudio.com. It comes out each Monday and always includes useful tips to help your voiceover career.
We have podcasts on Apple or wherever you like to download and go and listen, as well as other videos up here on this channel that are free resources to help you learn and grow.
So we'll see you next time.